Hi, my name is Rachel, and I'd like to share my story with you. Many girls grow up with dreams of becoming a mother. I was not one of those girls. I had always felt completely devoid of the motherly instinct. As a child, I would watch my mother go to work in the morning, and in the evening she would work on her master's degree. I was under the impression that accomplishments were things achieved outside the home, and that one's true sense of self and worth could only be found in professional or educational pursuit. My childhood dreams consisted of what career I would have and all the places it would take me. Motherhood was not compatible with my dreams or my life plan. When I found out I was pregnant, I was terrified, very scared, and just alone. The father worked a lot, and we both worked in other countries, and we traveled frequently for work. So having to give up my career, having to give up traveling, and giving up a lot of time to focus on the child was something that weighed heavily on my mind on whether or not I could do this. Also looking at the options of adoption, when I spoke with the father, he was not supportive of that. So we went through all of the options, and there was talk of terminating the pregnancy, and that was something that was a very hard decision to even think about. But it seemed at the time that that was something that fit in my life plan. But when I went to Your First Look, when I met Gina and when I met Laura, Gina has, 4 of her own children, and Laura at the time was expecting. So they gave me a lot of support. They built up my confidence. They told me that I could do this. They showed me a lot of different pathways and resources that I could access that could help me. So it wasn't something that I felt so alone with. Gina and Laura were so open. They would message me frequently. We talked on text, we talked on the phone every time I visited, and they just kept encouraging me, saying that I could do this. So there was a lot of emotional and mental and spiritual support coming from Gina and Laura at Your First Look. When I met Laura and Gina at Your First Look, and I felt really alone, I also felt that I wouldn't be able to access the medical care that I knew I would need. And Laura, luckily, faithfully knew Dr. Lillian Miller. Laura then one evening said, "We should go meet with Dr. Miller so you can just listen to her. She'll talk with you a little bit, and she's my doctor, she's really good." So I felt, wow, okay, that's a blessing in disguise. I really need to talk to a doctor at this stage. So that was at I think week 4 or 5. When I talked to Dr. Miller and Laura that night at the hospital, Dr. Miller took time out of her schedule, and she took her time out to sit with me. Halfway through the conversation, she just looked me straight in the face and she said, "Do the right thing." And that's something that I keep with me and I repeat to myself every day. And it's something that my dad used to say when I was younger. That's when it really hit me, and I knew, okay, I have to do the right thing. And the right thing isn't what fits in my schedule, and the right thing isn't what's right for my career. It's about giving those things up and bringing a child into the world that needs me. The father of Avi is named Anuj, and he lived in Tanzania, and that's where we met when I lived there. And he had planned for a trip to come to the US on September 3rd, and he was going to arrive in Washington, D.C., and we were going to shop for all of the things for Avi that he would need, like a stroller and car seat and everything like that. I got a call on September 1st morning. I had been in contact with Anuj, and he had explained that he was having some chest pains. So I told him that he should go to the doctor, and he said that he was on his way there. They're 8 hours ahead, so that was the daytime, and here it was nighttime, so I was going to bed. And when I woke up in the morning, a friend of mine was calling from Tanzania, and I thought, wow, I haven't heard from her for a while. I should talk with her and ask her how she's doing. So I answered, and she told me that Anuj Shah had passed away. And I remember exactly what I was wearing and exactly where I was standing, and I just collapsed. And I was living alone at the time, so I just opened my door and sat on the doorstep, and I felt like I was waiting for him to come, and that he would still be there at the airport, and that I should just get ready and go, and that he'd still be there.
days went by and I just couldn't talk. I couldn't do anything, and I couldn't get out of bed, and I didn't want to do anything, and all I could think about was what I would tell our son, who his father was and what he was like, and all the memories and all the places we'd gone together. And I just started making lists in my head of all the things I wanted to tell his son about his father. I didn't know what I would do in terms of course, finances and career-wise, but in terms of raising the child completely alone, not having the skills basically, not knowing when to tend each cry and when to feed and when to hold, or I just didn't know what to do all by myself. So remembered that Gina and Laura had always encouraged me to take these classes through Heartbeat and Your First Look. I decided I should sign up because it's something that'll get me out of the house and at least get me out of bed and try to get into a schedule or a routine of doing something. So when I went into the first one, there was a worksheet, and I started doing the worksheet, and Stacy introduced herself. And she was so polite and so kind and just warming and gentle. She asked me my story and my background, and of course I broke down emotionally, and she was so supportive. She just listened. She sat there with me. She cried with me. She hugged me, and she held me, and she was like a sister almost. She would message me and talk to me about things, and each week that I would come back, she would ask what had developed, or if I'd received messages back or what was going on, and she became very involved personally, and she really cared. Throughout my pregnancy and the birth of my child, Your First Look and Heartbeat have been there for me consistently and compassionately. I can honestly say that without these resources and committed individuals making all of this happen, I would not have been inspired, encouraged, or supported to have carried through with having my son. Although I say thank you each time I visit, there are no expressions which can captivate my gratitude for the services I have received at Your First Look and Heartbeat. Even after the birth of my son, the resources and connections stemming from Your First Look and Heartbeat have made life with a child so much easier to manage that I cannot imagine having made it through alone.
From the first time you came in to Heartbeat, I knew there was something different about you. There's just this sweet presence about you. Just each visit, you coming back like one time, two times. Each time you came in, it's like there's just a light that entered through the room when you walked in.
And you just changed my life. I just think someone like you is so rare.
And I'm so grateful to have gotten to know you, amazed by your grace and your beauty and your strength. I can't tell you how much it is neat to see you grow as a young lady and as a young woman and as a mother.
It has really changed my life to know you, and I'm so grateful for that. But I always remember you saying, I don't feel like a mom. I've never wanted to be a mom. I don't have what it takes to be a mother. And I just had this feeling yes, you do. From the moment I saw you, you do have a mother's heart. You may not see it, you may not feel it, but you do.
Laura just gave me this. She said, this is the first picture of Avi. And, life is a gift. Life is a gift that God gives us, and you chose life, and you honored life, and the Lord will always take care of you in that and reward you for that. And I feel so blessed to be a physician that is, a person that gets to bring God's gift into the world. And, who am I that I should ever be able to do that? But what a blessing that He's allowed me to meet you and the others that I've met through Heartbeat who are terrified and then choose life, and then to have this gift. This is the best, He's the best gift you'll ever have.